The next thing that we're going to go through is more detail on the inserting of pictures and media, as well as formatting backgrounds. The first thing that we're going to go through is actually shapes. So as we saw here with this crop on the puffin is cropped to the square that he exists in, but it's not a very nice, we could say a nice rounded shape. If we wanted to have a rounded shape, for example, a circle, let's say the circle is massive and actually goes off screen there, that's fine, because when we present this, we're not going to see anything that's off the screen. But let's see if we can get it kind of at the semi, I'm going to make it like a semicircle kind of vibe, right? Let's put it over there. Okay, so now we've got like a little semicircle here, and I want a little bird to be, let's say, flying out of that. So we can go to shape format, or we can actually right click on it and go to format shape, which will open the pane. If we want to open the pane from here, we can open the pane over here. It's the same place. And we can go to picture fill, go to the stock images. As you can see, these workflows get very easy to pick up and understand. You know, it just takes a couple of times to practice. So I want this little bird over here, which is flying out. You can see that the image got compressed, right? Because this shape doesn't really fit the aspect ratio of the original picture. But that's very easy to fix. What we can do is we can actually tile this picture as a texture. That's one way to do it. And then we just reduce the X and Y scale. So I'm going to change this to 50 is too small. Let's say 75 and 75. So now I have the picture that I kind of want. But so if we look at the presentation, it's actually his tail feather that we're looking at. And that's not great. So let's go back to the picture itself and let's try and flip this. There we go. So now we have our little bird is popping his head out over there. I don't like that there's a outline on this shape, so I'm going to remove that. So here in shape outline, which is the circle shape, I'm just going to say no outline. I don't like that outline being there. I'm going to move this a bit closer, getting to that halfway point. It's giving me the guidance there. And here we go. So here now we have like a little bird flying out onto the screen. I think it's quite cute. And I mean, it doesn't distract too much from the rest of the slide. So that's one way that we can add backgrounds to shapes and actually have a nice cropped shape that we can use without having to go through too much of additional software. Everything can be done here in PowerPoint. Or we can also format the background of the slide itself. So if it's copying the same picture as before, but let's have you know, some kind of scenery here. So let's put scenery. Maybe it'll give us something nice. Ooh, an explosion of pink, right? This is a terrible, terrible background to have on such a slide, but you know, this is just an example. As you can see, we've lost our ability to see our text, and because of the variations in color on the background, actually, it's going to be hard to find one specific color that stands out. So this is a terrible background. What we can do is, if we do have a background like this, is we can increase the transparency so that it's only barely visible in the background. It's not the best, this image is not the best for this case, but you can see that there is an option for you to create some visibility on the text that's coming to the front. And there are more advanced things that we can do, but I think that this is enough for you to get the basics of presentations, especially if this is your first time using presentation software. I highly recommend that you play around, test, make mistakes, come back. So there is an undo button at the top of the screen here. It's just off the recording of the screen, but if you press Ctrl Z, so let's say for instance I move this here, I can press Ctrl Z, it goes, snaps right back to where it was. Same thing happens if I click this button up here, which is undo move object. So if you make any mistakes, you can just undo things. One other thing that you can do in insert is insert text boxes. So if you want more text on a slide, then you can add it using the insert text box. The only thing that I would suggest is try and keep your text boxes within the same kind of place. If you're worried about where it may be, don't use a text box by itself. Maybe change the size of one of the text boxes you have, copy it. So you can do that by going right click, copy, right click, paste, use destination theme or just paste, which is also Control Z, Control C, Control V, and then putting that right next to the other one using the guidelines, the grid there. So that's one way to do it. Actually, any shape can also be used to add text. So if we look at this shape, we can put in text there. If the image that's used as a background is not very good for looking at fonts and typography. So if we put in another one here, I'll make this a black box with white writing. So here we can see that it's much easier to see that. And yeah, you can just put in a shape and you can type straight onto it. Just again, be mindful of where you put these things on a slide because they can be distracting as well. What I want to do is I just want to remove this background because it is giving me a headache. So yeah, this looks, this is still clean and easy to go through. So the last thing is videos. If we go to insert pictures, stock images, you'll notice that there's a videos tab here as well. So let's look for a bird. I don't know, the cardinal or the macaw. I'm going to go for the cardinal. Right, so if we put in this cardinal video, as you can see, it's quite big. And remember, if we want to have a better look at what's going on in the background, we can always go back to the selection pane and see what's in the background without having to, move things and resize. We can actually just make it disappear until we need it again. So we can hide all or show all. Right. So yeah, this video is right here. If we make it the whole screen, it may pixelate a little bit, but this is quite a big video. Remember, if you look for 720 and 1080 when you're inserting videos yourself. If we click on this, notice we have two tabs at the top here. So playback is basically how does this play? So here we have start automatically. So if I go into present mode, it's going to start automatically. So if we exit out of this presentation, if we said start when clicked on, that means we need to interact with it. Also, if it's in click sequence, this would mean that there's some kind of trigger or animation that plays before. But those are going to be more advanced things we're not going to cover in this specific demo.